Alfarius. All information about him is provided by Inquisitor Kraven, who was heavily corrupted by the Alpha. Whereabouts are currently unknown. The Legion and whose The Alpha Legion's greatest secret is that Alfarius had a twin brother named Omegon. The Emperor created Omegon. To this day it is unknown whether the Emperor or not. Alfarius and Omegon are both primarchs of their legions. However, for Omegon,
Oh my god!
they are described. Alfarius represents both and seems to have control over it as being one soul in two bodies, and are often referred to as Alfarius Omegon. Bronze skin and dark brown hair. Features reminiscent of.
Hello?
Both Alfarius and Omegon are taller than the average space marine, with pale Horus. Their eyes, however, differ from Horus's in that they appear to shimmer from blue to green depending on the angle of view. The color that changes from. The only difference between the two brothers is that Omegon wears black painted armor while Alfarius was the last to be found by the Alfarius wears the standard armor of the Alpha Legion. Decades before the Emperor, end of the Great Crusader, while all the other primarchs were found on planets, Alfarius himself found himself in Horus' fleet, using a small, ancient in an unnamed area. Craft. Alfarius infiltrated the Luna Wolves ship and caught Horus' attention as he headed straight for the main control room. But Alfarius avoided the fifth shot and continued to close in on Horus unstopped. The four who accompanied Alfarius were killed by Horus. Probably. However, as they neared their destination, Alfarius and Horus both stopped abruptly, delighted by the sudden realization of their brotherly bond. And Horus laughed a lot, that more pleased than expected. Horus, instead of sending Alfarius back to Terra to meet the Emperor, kept him for. The two formed a strong friendship. Several months. With mutual respect for each other. Although Alfarius refused to name his home planet, Alfarius laid the discovery of his last son. And Alfarius met the Emperor and attended the great feasts celebrating. Alfarius became Primarch of the Alpha Legion, leading them in the final years of the Alfarius seemed less interested in the Great Crusade. However, Alfarius in war and more focused on philosophy, and a heated argument ensued that ended with Robot citing the history culture. This caught Robot Gilliman's attention and he went to ask Alfarius why. Of the Ultramarines Legion, which was nearly 200 years older than the Alpha Legion. Silencing Alfarius then believed that Robot hated him and he decided to ignore the Primarch of the Ultramarines. With his closeness to Horus, it was believed that Alfarius sided with Chaos. The massacre at Svan V when Horus openly defied the Emperor and killed his brothers was planned by Alfarius. The Horus Heresy. Indeed, sided with Chaos before the Horus Heresy. The twins had made contact with a mysterious organization called the Kubota and explained the origins of Chaos. It is believed that the Cabal, who foretold the impending war of the Empire, convinced the Alpha Legion to join Horus in destroying the Emperor, as the only way to completely for war. Engaging in quell chaos. During the heresy, Alfarius showed a preference in numerous battles with the Loyalist legions. During the Battle of Pluto, Alfarius was killed by Rogel Dorn. To this day, Primarch of the Imperial Fifth, the Ultramarines question Alfarius's death and the Alpha Legion's madness. It is believed that Omegon, making their way closer and closer to the Ultramarines' home planet, took over Alfarius' leadership. Even after Horus was killed and the war ended, the Alpha Legion continued to fight. They eventually met on a planet called Escrador, where Omegon and Robot Gilliman fought their final duel. Armagon through the throat and the Ultramarines. The battle ended with Robot Impaler forced to retreat into orbit due to the Alpha Legion's onslaught despite their
Thank you.
Marcus' death.
Bye!
Brahma is the creator of the universe. He has 4 heads and 4 arms. That's depicted as sitting on a lotus with the hands hold the lotus, a string of beads used to keep track of time, a water pot to create life, and the 4 Vedas respectively. The 4 knowledge of the 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, heads represent the sacred knowledge and Atharva Vedas. His vehicle is the swan, which is considered to have been born from the lotus, which is known for its ability to judge between good and evil. Brahma grew in the navel of Vishnu at the beginning of creation. His companion is Saraswati, who is the goddess of learning and Nama with the necessary knowledge for knowledge. She provides creating the universe. Once there was a demon called Gajamugassuran. He was a great and pleased with his penance. Shiva granted him some boon. Devotee of Shiva. Gajamugassuran became very proud and powerful, and he started troubling the gods. Tired of his antics, the gods Gasaran. Shiva sent Ganesha to ask Shiva to save them from Gajamu to help the gods. Ganesha went with several weapons such as bow and arrow, sword, and even an axe to destroy Gajamugassuran. But the demon had been given a boon that none of these weapons could cause him harm, so Ganesha's attempts to destroy Gajamugassuran the demon proved to be ineffective. Finally, the form of a small mouse and rushed towards Ganesha. Ganseha was very clever and immediately sat on the little mouse. Gajamugassuran for his deeds. Since then, Suran was defeated and was forced to apologize. Ganesha is always accompanied by a mouse as his vehicle. As a child, Krishna was very fond of butter and would often steal milk and butter from naughty. He was very for houses, and the women would come complaining to Yashoda about her son's mischievous activities. Krishna secretly ate mud. His friend. One day, while playing in the fields, little Krishna went and told Yashoda about this. When Krishna returned home, Yashoda caught dirt in his mouth. Krishna promptly replied that he had had a fight with his friends in the morning, and to take revenge they were all lying, and that Krishna by his ears and scolded him for putting Yashoda shouldn't believe them. He said that she was being unfair as she believed them instead of believing her son. She ordered, if you have not taken Yashoda knew her son too well, taken any mud, then open your mouth, I shall see for myself. Krishna obediently opened his mouth. The mountains, the oceans, the planets, air, fire, moon appeared into his mouth. She was wonderstruck. She saw the entire universe, moon, and the stars in his small mouth. Yashoda was stunned and began to wonder. She fell on the ground, unconscious, or whether she were dreaming or actually seeing something extraordinary. When she recovered, she realized what had happened. The Lord Almighty, in all his glory, was before her very eyes. She took the little boy on her lap and hugged him and cried with joy. Brahma, the creator of the universe, Krishna, the incarnation of Vishnu. Yashoda creating the universe, Brahma made a beautiful woman and named her Satarupa. But Brahma was charmed by his own fine beauty. To enable himself to see her from all angles, he gave himself a creation. He had never before seen second, third, and fourth head. Wherever Satarupa went, she found Brahma's eyes staring at her. Brahma created a fifth head for himself. Disgusted, she rose skywards, and in order to see her, Lord Shiva, the destroyer, was watching all this, and Brahma's actions greatly angered him. He felt that as Brahma had created Satarupa, he felt that it was wrong on Brahma's part to be in love. She was like his daughter, and it was his duty to protect her, love with her, and to teach him a lesson. Shiva struck off Brahma's fifth head. The chaos demons knew this weakness well, and exploited it to the fullest. Millions of devout and fanatical followers, countless hordes on countless worlds and planets. spread across the vast power in exchange for their worship. They recruited millions of space and time, ready to obey the chaos gods' every thought and command. Of the most, even after death, the souls of those who devoted their lives to the chaos gods were retained by the deity they worshipped. A successful chaos champion would only attract the god's attention for a brief moment, perhaps enough for the god to reward a powerful weapon to make him more effective in battle. Said the loyalist with a disfiguring reward, or such occasions are rare, however. The gods can grant a reward that every champion desires to be freed from the mortal body and reach demon prince. Only a few of all humans understand the truth, the realm of chaos. To regenerate body and mind and become a mighty threat of chaos, and have learned from the destruction of others what can happen to a species that succumbs to the lure of chaos. Shattered worlds and lost in the service of chaos. Forgotten peoples dot the sky, the testaments of fallen races that have destroyed themselves. Among them, the greatest are the Eldar, a race that once spread across the galaxy, now reduced to a few not so saddened by survivors drifting in the cold of space. There are some Eldar, individuals their tragedy, who see in humans the same threat that destroyed their race. To these Eldar, humanity is treading the same path. Is a reminder of what happened long toward the darkness of chaos, a crude mirror reflecting the Eldar's own shame. All the signs are there for those. The rise of aberrations, those with the experience and the courage to see them, all point to an impending catastrophe. If humanity becomes too corrupt, one need only look to the fall of the Eldar to see the results of failure that exists in the warp. This force is illustrated by the four dark. The answer lies in Slaves to Darkness, the title of which is a brief explanation. Chaos is an evil force, dark gods of chaos, Korn, Tiz, Inch, Nurgle, and Slaanesh. Gods who desire to crush reality, they use their power as an offering to mortals, fascination with the horrors of war, and most familiar to serve them. This power often manifests in the form of tentacles, superhuman abilities, the eight-pointed star. In some ways, these manifestations are accurate, but they are not the whole truth. The truth is what I hope to expose in this novel, Slaves to Darkness. Chaos is power. Truth is much more terrible, and that is powerful. The forces of the warp are often described as gods, their minion chaos, but it is only a part of something greater, as demons, their power as black magic. That is how mortals speak of 1,000 times more terrifying. The forces of chaos are not gods. They have sentience, perception, made up of the emotions of. They have awareness, a strange and terrifying kind of all mortals. But that concept makes them more like a hurricane than a normal person. It is not that chaos wants it that way, or perhaps it enjoys it, like a flood choosing to wipe out a street, or a tornado flipping houses and cars. That force is inherently infinite, pure, deadly, wild, and destructive. It is what they are. Nothing can shake that. These forces fight each other like the poles of a magnet. War sweeps away the power of refinement, and despair and decay tear apart the desire for perfection and endless pleasure, and so on in a never-ending cycle.